My name is Marinju, and today I want to take you through something small about basically taking apart try before you buy systems. So as you can see, we have a nice domain here, and on our domain we have this system called Afcon Payroll. So it's called payroll system, cloud-based. So it's offered as a service online. It has a few features here, as you can see. These are quite nice. However, what we want to do is test it from the ground in and see what's the worst that could happen if it's not done well. Most people don't check for these things when purchasing try before you buy software. So on the cloud it's quite risky. Maybe on software level it would be a bit less, but on the cloud level it's a bit risky. The attack surface is quite large or extended. So as you can see, first of all, when you go to the domain, it redirects to a folder called mobile. So most of the times people upload scripts, but they will forget to remove backup. And as you can see here, we have a backup. So that's one thing to look at. So let's just get this one and see. So our IDM has gotten this backup for us. Let's open it. Yes, as you can see, this one has the source for what we're seeing right now. It's a bad sign. It means first of all, this is not really well thought of, and the implementation is a bit sloppy. But anyway, let's get to the main software. As you can see, there are two test accounts, one limited one for the employees and one super admin account. So let's test with the powerful one, because at least it gives us a more holistic view. So as we said, we'll try look at this from the ground in, be a little bit critical on it. What usually happens is it's good to know the life cycle of every process, especially key ones. Like this is the main doorway into your system. So if you were to purchase this as a service, you'd want to know how well this bit was done. Oh, sorry, they say info at Afcon. So basically, we've seen what you see on the browser is login.php and then HTML.php, but there's a lot which happens in the background, and that's what we want to find out here. So let's about that JavaScript creation. So yes, as you can see, we are main.php, and there's a change here. Let's just follow the whole thing. So the first thing that happened was the data we put in was sent to login.php. As you can see here, import africahacon.com, and then superadmin and the password. That was nice. Now once that was done, let's find out what else happened. So basically what you'll be looking for is server-side scripts, basically PHP scripts. You also see there's a file called cookie-set.php, and it sets an ID of 1 for login. And from this point on, as you notice, there's nothing else here. However, from this point on, you notice that this appears. A cookie meet equals 1. So, well, what that means is, let me just show you. This governs our session, basically from what we've seen so far. So what would happen if we delete that cookie? So that logs us out. So if we try to access this resource, we are taken to the login. Now, the flip side to this is fine. If a cookie is destroyed, I'm logged out. But then again, we've seen the cookie seems a bit predictable because it just uses a value of 1. So what if I do this? If I add the cookie, and then I'll try to access the system again. logs me in. So that means this system from the doorway already is a big problem. As you can see, we can log in without a username and a password. So any implementation of this system, whether you have it as a cloud-based service or you use it from their machines, it means anyone can log in as a super administrator. As you can see, I'm back with the super admin account. So that's something to be worried about. But the rest of the features seem nice. You can see the employees and you can add a new employee and stuff. But what we're looking for is not the norm. We're looking for key features that most people don't look at. Like for instance, okay, I can upgrade any user to an administrator. Okay, so that now that user is an administrator here. I'm super admin from the login, so I wouldn't appear in this list. Okay, you also see the notifications, the profile, I can see the stuff, and then there's also an import and export database. Okay, so this seems interesting. So first things first, let's try export this database and see if we can get information from it. So let's do it here. Let's make a small file, for example, data name. So let's just dump our data there. Save backup. Save. So let's just check if you can see anything interesting there. Yeah. So it's downloaded, and this is just a holder file. So let's see this. Interestingly enough, there is the DB. So now from here we can get a lot of information about how stuff is structured in the system. Usually you'd want to also know especially about users. So there's a table called ESD member 2, and then there's the password, Afcon. Okay, let's see if it has any values. Doesn't, so we can keep looking for another one with the same. Okay, there's this one, seems to have values. Let's find out which table this is. So there's ESD archive, which holds user data. Now we notice something here which is very interesting. There's a password and then there's an encrypted password next to it. This is also another bad sign, because this means even though the passwords are hashed, all I need to do is look at the next column. So if I extract this table as is, I don't need to crack any passwords basically. I can just use them. That's another bad sign. The business continuity plan is in place, but it's not well done. So this exposes a weakness of the system to a stranger on the internet. So you can imagine how bad that is. And then we also see there's an ability to import databases. Okay, and this is bad because this information should have been hard-coded onto the page rather than given on the site as a form. This is not a good sign, because again, it means if the same user can access another database within the system, they can actually import data into that database. So as you can see, there is the user Afcon Payroll, their password is Afcon Payer. What I've used to change this property is called Firebug. It's an extension that enables you to manipulate client-side code for your benefit. So basically I changed the mask from the input type from a password to a text, which is what you saw here when you press F12. There it is. So this was initially password. Now what you do is you change the type to text, so that now you can see it in plain text. As you can see, there's the database user and the password. So what if there's another database on this system that's controlled by the same user? That means I can import data into that other user's DB. So that's another thing we need to check for. Another common thing, as you can see, we have the ability to upload thumbnails, and I'm seeing here our company. We can add details, we can check the staff within the company, do reports. This is all good stuff. But then again, there's this thing, uploads. So if I see here, I can see that there's our images, if we change any of them, are basically supposed to upload stuff. When we upload an image or change our logo, it's supposed to come here. So this looks good from the get-go that the image is here, but if you notice, there's a question mark here, and this is particularly interesting because this seems like a Word document. So it gets you asking, what will get a Word document into an upload folder, yet we are not seeing any document upload here for something like MS Word and stuff. So yeah, as you can see, there's technically nothing. So I'd want to find out whether I can do the same and upload something else other than a Word document. Maybe something that will give me more leverage on this system than that. So let's try use something called a web shell. As you can see, it's checking for images, but then it also has the option of checking for all types of files. So let's upload this and see if it will accept. And well, you'd think it's refused because no picture has been found, because what we've uploaded is not a photo. However, what's really surprising is that it refused the image after it's uploaded it. So as you can see here, we have a broken image. That means the file is on the server. We will have only received this and then nothing here. But yes, technically the image should break because it's not an image, and it seems our PHP file has been uploaded. So if we come check again here, as you can see, it was actually uploaded. This is a very bad sign again from the system point of view. Now what we have is a web shell here, which means we can now see even the private stuff on the server. As you can see, this is all the code, and even the server side code, you can actually read it. This is really bad. Okay, so from this I see we require from this page mysql.php and cookies.php. So let's go back to the files. We'd want to see what mysql.php is if it's needed by most pages. And yes, so mysql.php is basically that. Cookies.php we understand from the fact that it checks for the cookie to be mid equals 1, which you've seen is a very big weakness on its own. So here's that database connection information. And yes, so as you see, this should have been left here rather than be put there. So what we notice also is there's another folder. There's mobile, which was what we saw initially, and right now we are in the root. This seems nice, internal. So what would internal be? We'd also want to find out. You look for some weird namings because those one's still allowed. Again, there's login.php here, and well, since we have control, what we can do is get, as we've seen, mysql.php seems to be a copy of the system. So let's go to mysql.php again and get connection details to this one, so that now we can read this particular database. As you see, the user and the password is the same, which is why I see it's a bit risky, but then the database is different. So a user can actually get access to another internal database now that we know this from the demo at any given point in time. So that's what we've seen, and then we've seen the DB is called Afcon internal page. So let's try connect to this, and yes. So initially we found out that data is in these tables. ACD member. This seems interesting. Okay, let's scroll to the right. As you can see here, we have the email, bank account numbers. This is a lot of information, and it will be risky if someone got hold of this. And then you see we have the password for the internal system, and then the unencrypted password. Again, another big problem. This is actually very bad. So anyway, let's just check at it, and we see the username is the same, info@Afcon. What changes is the password. So we have an actual internal system. And let's use that password, and yes, it logs in. As you can see, this is this one is now the internal application. Now this is what the company uses. Now this is bad, because now we actually have control of the actual application, which has actual user data rather than just the demo. So what we can do is we can steal this for future. So we can select all tables and then do dump. Now it's under internal, which means we called it dump.sql. So if we come and do this, we should get the actual database offline. Yes, and it actually downloads. So you can imagine what would happen if someone stole such information from your company. Bank account details. So again, try before you buy. Systems need people to check more on what they're getting rather than just the baseline. So again, let's just come to this. Yeah, so we see a lot of stuff here, and we have the database already. So it's good to always comb the server for backups, or we can zip the source code if we need be. And as you can see here, there are a lot of files. Seems some are test files, like there's live response and then live response 2. And wow, okay, as I was doing that, I've noticed something else. We have an internal.zip, and this is the actual application backup. Okay, so you can also just take that. Let's just see if it's downloaded. Yeah, it's downloaded. So yeah, it seems the internal app was actually there. So you can imagine someone stealing your database with your data and also taking the application to run with. So yes, try before you buy needs a lot of checks before you just take a system as is. And then this is also risky, because right now one can check internal files, like this is a list of the users on the system. We're currently, let's see what privileges we have. Yeah, we are Apache, so that's okay in terms of permissions. But then still, with a web shell, you can read files on the server. So there's my SQL history view, there's nothing there. So then there's the bash history. In the event of them typing commands initially, you can get them there. We also have the keys here. So basically, you can get creative from this point on. And worst part is they wouldn't know you're here, because again, it's just another innocent upload. So this means if this is a cloud-based system, as it's technically intended to be, any company here will be in a big problem, because it means a member of one company can technically take information from the other company, and that poses a huge risk. Business-wise, needs not be emphasized more than it is right now. So another thing we might want to check is also how it's structured. Maybe. Another thing I usually check is that yes, so we see a lot of pages here, but we've not encountered a direct relation with these pages, like the company profile, the PHP, backed up files, the PHP, admins, the PHP, but we've not really seen them. We've only worked through mail. So it will be also nice to know if okay, first of all, that's very bad. As you can see, it seems I can access these files directly. Let's just take another one which might have information like company profile.php. So it means if you have an implementation for your company, I can come and read it actually. And as you can see, this is also another one. Now this is in the internal folder. Let's see if these functions work actually. So it means without logging in, I already can check and try to upload a file. Let's upload a text file. Or rather, let's just do in one of the files we picked from the server. We can try one of those files. Let's try files demo.txt, or we can make a new one. Let me just take another random one. It will be easier. Okay, let's take this document. And you see we get our own image, but then it seems it uploaded, because as you can see it's trying to download it back. So when we come to the internal upload, this is now the internal system, not even the demo system. We see we have our hacking and topics uploaded. So that's another problem, unauthenticated pages. So the username and password page, as you can see, it has two levels of hopeless, so to speak, because I can access internal pages without them. As long as I don't go through main.php, it seems I can technically do anything I would like in this system. So maybe next time you check out a trial before you buy system. You might want to look into it a bit more deeper than the regular. Thanks for listening.